All right.
Just give me 30 seconds, speaker. I'm just switching on the live transmission thing.
Okay, Doc.
We live.
All right. Thank you very much, and good afternoon to our panelists, and good afternoon to our viewers. Good afternoon, all of you. September is another very exciting month, and I just want to say spring has sprung. So a very happy spring and a happy Heritage Month to all our viewers. Heritage Month, ladies and gentlemen, is celebrated annually in September, and government calls on all with me.
We've lost the speaker.
Hello? Okay. The celebration of Heritage Month has created a conducive environment for all people to embrace and celebrate what was inherited or bequeathed to us by our forebears. So in celebrating Heritage Month, I thought, what better way to kickstart the month than by talking about history of Johannesburg. I thought that today we have to reflect on the history of this great big city of ours, the city which is sometimes called, or the city that has a lot of nicknames. Sometimes it is called Jiba, sometimes it is called sometimes it is called the City of Gold. And also to reflect on the importance of culture and heritage in our society. In July, we launched the Moral Regeneration Program. This program speaks to...
Oh, man. Oh.
I got to read my...
You're back. We lost you for about 2 minutes.
For the internet connection better.
Oh, okay, it was an internet connection this time around. Apologies to everyone. I was saying, so in celebrating the month, I thought, what better way to kickstart the month than by talking about the history of Johannesburg, the great big city of ours, which has a lot of nicknames. I said sometimes it is called the City of Gold. I think Eric will reflect on that. It is called Mjiba. It is called it has a lot of nicknames because of all of us who migrated from different areas to the city of Johannesburg. And also to reflect on the importance of
Is it over?
We're picking you up, Anna.
Okay. Are you picking me up?
Yeah.
All right. So
you were lost for 30 seconds.
In July, we launched the Moral Regeneration Program. This program speaks to the rededication of building a caring society through social cohesion in our country. Tumelo is making noise.
Tumelo, can you please mute?
Yeah, she's really missing us. No. The speaker is
Speaker,
muted.
you are now on, you are muted, speaker.
Okay, whoever was muting Tumelo also muted me. I was talking about moral.
You disconnected.
No, I'm out. Klaga,
I can see you here. I can pick you up.
hello. The panelists can't pick me up.
We can pick you up, madam.
We can hear you now, speaker.
Okay, but I was off for some time. Okay. I'm saying that it is to preserve our morals and keep our.
No. It's frustrating, this thing.
Yeah.
You guys, can you please sort out that laptop? Honestly.
Yeah, I think she needs to change the laptop altogether because it's not it's not
More than a month of it doing this.
Klaga,
Yes, Madam Speaker.
I request that you do my opening address because really we are disturbing the process.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll share. Just do the opening address for me. Just go through my notes. Yeah, you have them. Yeah, just go through my notes. And yeah, because now we're breaking and we're disturbing the flow of streaming.
Maybe speaker, you could welcome the MMC and then the speaker.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. MMC Arnold, you are most welcome. I heard that you had a problem in connecting, but we welcome you and we really appreciate that you managed to connect. I am struggling with my audio. I am requesting Klaga to just do the opening for me.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. So basically, as the speaker has mentioned, that today we decided to do a show about the history of Johannesburg because it talks to the month of heritage, which is obviously September, and it talks to the importance of preserving our morals, right? She was also talking about the moral regeneration movement, to say we launched the moral regeneration movement in July, and so that also ties in very well with the topic at hand today. So what we've done is that we basically introduced or we invited Mr. Eric Itzkin. I hope I said it correctly, Eric. It's Mr. Eric Itzkin, okay? He will speak on the history of Johannesburg. And Mr. Itzkin is the Deputy Director of Immovable Heritage in the city of Johannesburg. He's also a specialist on Johannesburg history and heritage. So on behalf of the speaker, Eric, if I can just welcome you onto the platform and just express the fact that we're very excited to have you on the show. And we're looking forward to some of the information that you're going to be sharing with us about Johannesburg in particular. I know that the speaker has introduced MMC Arnold, but I'm also going to take this opportunity to also introduce the special guest who is the MMC. MMC is responsible for community development in the city of Johannesburg. In fact, arts and culture falls under her in the city. And so she is going to be unpacking the importance of arts and culture, or the importance of culture and heritage rather, in our society. So MMC, once more, we welcome you onto the platform. And of course, we have the usual suspects or the usual guests that also join us every week on the show. We've got Dr. Nyati, who is a very trusted partner and co-anchor of the speaker in the city of Johannesburg. Would also like to welcome you, Doc. We are supposed to be joined by Councillor Salfina Mulauzi, who is the chair of chairs in the city of Johannesburg, or in the legislature. But I'm not seeing her on the platform, although I see her office. So I'm assuming that perhaps they'll be joining her a little bit, or she'll be joining us a little bit later. So welcome to the chair of chairs in absentia as well. And I think, I'm not sure, Madam Speaker, I'll take the cue from yourself, but I think we can just get straight into it. Perhaps we can start with the MMC. to get into the discussion itself, if you give me the go ahead, Madam. Okay, I think Madam is still not audible. So MMC, maybe let's get straight into it. So I'll just start with the first question to say South Africa has been famously referred to as the Rainbow Nation because obviously it's made up of very many diverse cultures. But perhaps just to get into the difference between culture and heritage, and perhaps as you unpack the difference between the two, we can talk to why is culture and heritage important in our society today. So MMC, I'm going to hand over to you. MMC Arnold?
Yeah, she can unmute.
If you can please unmute.
I'm unmuting.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you now, MMC. Thank you.
Okay.
You're audible.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. And I apologize that I struggled to get on. I also just had load shedding, so I'm not sure how this is going to be with my connection. But I'd like to say thank you, Honorable Chair, Speaker, for inviting me. In the absence of Chair of Chairs, Councillor Salfina, thank you very much. And to the anchor of today's webinar, Dr. Nyati. Can I carry on?
Dumelo Face. Who's Dumelo Face, Ndlaga?
I think it might be Dumelo from the city of Johannesburg, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it is.
Dumelo, please can you mute us now? You can continue, MMC Arnold.
Okay. As I said before, I was interrupted. The anchor of today's webinar, Dr. Nyati, thank you very much. And also our heritage historian and head of heritage in the city, Dr. Eric Itzkin. Greetings to you all, and I'll say all protocol has been observed. Once again, thank you for inviting us, and also that the executive has the responsibility of community development on me, because it's a very, very exciting department. And I also want to say that, you know, we have a very rich history in the city of Johannesburg. It's very important for us to reflect on the history of this city. We also shape. Hello. We have also sharpened the. Yes.
Maybe if you could switch off the camera, then the bandwidth will be smooth, because now.
Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. I was saying it is important that as we reflect on the history of the city, we also sharpen the contradictions that relate to the origin, the evolution, and the dynamism of the city, and how those inform the current implicit and explicit trials and this is all very, very rich history, and it's a history and to a great extent and policies give rights of institutions, an extensive public art collection of the city to mark the importance of various historic events within the city. And these are legacies of we also have the legacy of the mining history. I believe the biggest contributor to the formation of the city, because they were miners and they came to Joburg or Johannesburg on reality of atrocities that forced the forced evictions in Sapphire Town And incidentally, I was born in Sophiatown, that gave birth to the legacy of poorly planned settlements that we as a government of local unity are grappling with today. We are still struggling with those, that past. And that is part of our political history that led to the establishment of places like Soweto and the celebrated heroes of the time, which some of them was also Joseph Sonke Mpanza, a place that was a home to our struggle heroes, Soweto, to Nelson Mandela, Winnie Madikizela Mandela, Charlotte Nkeke, Tsietsi Mashinini, and all others that was part of 1976, the 1970, all those, even later, John, just a few of them. Also, we also have the home of Regina Mondi, that was also part of us, the church and the DOCC in Orlando, which was a site for the Soweto uprising. So there's a lot that comes out from here. The birthplace of the ANC Youth League under Anton Lembede, and the birthplace of even the PAC under Robert Sobukwe, who many may not know also resided in Orlando. We have the reflection of the student uprising that gave the rise to the June 16 Interpretation Center, and also the Hector Peterson Museum. So we have a very, very good multicultural city. We have the Alexander Heritage Center, and I'm sure the director will say to me, MMC, we promised the people of Alex that we are going to do something there. We also had the first Black female mayor, Mayor Sophie Masite, coming also from within the city. So we are very rich with heritage and culture, although people might think that Johannesburg is only rich with gold, but we are rich with a lot of things and a lot of leaders. So with those remarks, I would like to say thank you very much for inviting me. And I really am certain I'm going to enjoy this session with everybody. I thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, MMC, for that rich memory lane. We will be discussing further during the discussion. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I'm audible. All right.
Yes, we can. We can.
Thank you very much for reminding us of our stalwarts and our heroines and heroes of the city of Johannesburg. Let me now go to Eric. Eric, Johannesburg has a very rich and colorful history, which includes a pre-colonial history. As I indicated when I was doing the opening, the discovery of gold, that is why it is called the City of Gold, which drew people from all over the world. The first division or segregation, the struggle for equal rights, and an integrated society. So just take us through this rich history that we are talking about, which some of people of generation, the income or the coming generation or the current generation is maybe not aware of. If you could just take us through that, Eric, but you are not limited to what I've mentioned. You can just go on and on and on and on and on for us to understand this city of ours.
That's great. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, and greetings again to Dr. Nyati and the MMC and our viewers. So Johannesburg, founded in 1886, is one of the world's youngest major cities, having grown from a small mining camp to a modern metropolis in the space of just a few generations. So our recent recorded history is quite short, but it's packed with lots of incident and growth and economic progress as well. But before I go into that, I want to take a step back, because there's something to be said about this area before the development of the modern city. It was indeed inhabited by Bantu-speaking people going back into the distant past. The remains of stone-walled villages from Sotho-Tswana-speaking peoples can still be seen at Klippriviersburg in the south of Johannesburg, while there are ancient Iron Age furnaces which have been discovered in places like Melville Koppies and Northcliffe. So from about 1000 AD, you had Iron Age people living in the region for hundreds of years, before many of them moved away by 1837 when the fur trackers came up from the Cape. So if we go even further back, an amazing 40% of the world's human ancestor fossils have been found in this part of the world, in areas like the cradle of humankind, located not far from Johannesburg. So, as we've heard from Madam Speaker and the MMC, in more recent terms, the story of Joburg is a lot about gold. The economic powerhouse of Africa that Joburg is arose from the world's biggest and richest gold rush, earning it the nicknames that we've heard, Egoli, place of gold, and so on. There were prospectors scratching around for gold for some time, but the real game changer came in 1886 when an Australian prospector called George Harrison discovered the main reef, which was on a farm called Langlaagte. Ironically, Mr. Harrison failed to appreciate the full significance of his discovery, and he sold his claim for the small amount of £10, and he went off elsewhere and disappeared from sight. But as the magnitude and the scale of the discovery became known, Johannesburg attracted people from all around the world. The lure of gold brought people from places like the British Isles, from countries in Europe, from Australia, from the gold fields of California, from different places in India, and from China. There were also landless Afrikaners who were driven from their rural homes by debt and by drought, who came and settled in areas like the brickfields, in what is now known as Newtown, and in Vredendorp. And large numbers of African people came from every corner of the African subcontinent. They arrived from places like Basutoland, Pondoland, Zululand, and Mozambique. Many came as migrant workers who worked for relatively short periods on the mines, perhaps 6 months or a year, before returning to their rural homes. There were others who also settled permanently in the growing city. On the 4th of October, 1886, when Johannesburg was officially proclaimed, it began as a small triangular site of wasteland, really, which was called Rheinkislaagte, an area which was as little as 2.5 kilometers square. And by the end of that year, the population had started to grow, went up from a few hundred people to 3,000. So from there, the growth of Johannesburg was phenomenal. And for a time, this became the world's fastest growing urban center. By 1896, 10 years after its founding, this was the largest urban space in Africa south of the Sahara, with a population of almost 102,000 people, already eclipsing the population of Cape Town, which had been established almost 250 years earlier. Of this population in 1896, almost half were blacks, comprising mostly of African people. Today's Johannesburg is a sprawling city with a geographical area of 2,300 square kilometers, making it larger than well-known cities like Greater London, Sydney in Australia, or New York. Powered by gold and other industries, Johannesburg was a place of rapid change. Over the years, the central city has been rebuilt at least 4 times. It started out as a tent camp, which was replaced by a town of tin shanties. And after that came the first brick buildings and multi-story buildings, and eventually the city of modern skyscrapers. By the time that some of the gold mines began to close down in the 30s and in the 1930s and in later years, Johannesburg's economy had moved into secondary industry, and by the 1960s, it had become a center of international finance. Johannesburg began as a city of newcomers, of migrants and immigrants, and that is a pattern that has continued to the present, making Johannesburg the most culturally diverse place in South Africa, and I think on the continent of Africa. Recent arrivals in the cosmopolitan and Afropolitan city include communities from China, Pakistan, Zimbabwe, Somalia, and the list can go on. So from the early days, the promise of riches, or at least the dream of economic opportunity, attracted a diverse population. But white domination and segregation kept people apart, entrenching inequalities and dividing black from white. Almost from the outset, when the town was first laid out, separate locations were allocated for African, Cape Malay, and Indian occupation. Through the apartheid era, the racial lines of the city were redrawn through forced removals, which MMC Arnold's mentioned, from such places as Sophiatown and Pageview, also known as Fitas. So increasingly impoverished communities of black people were consigned to far-flung townships located at a distance at the margins of the white city. Johannesburg became a crucible of 20th century oppression and resistance, and the scene of momentous battles against discrimination and racism. Still today, historic sites, buildings, and places in Joburg map the journeys of anti-apartheid movements and a whole number of campaigners, both known and unknown, as they made their journey towards liberation. By the 1940s and 1950s, Johannesburg had spawned the burgeoning township of Soweto, regarded by the apartheid authorities as a temporary black spot in a white region, and refused any form of land tenure, civic status, and democratic rights. No provisions were made
We've lost Mr. Itzkin.
Yes, yes.
Oh, you're back.
You lost me.
We lost you
Yes.
for about 30 seconds or so.
Okay, can I backtrack just a little bit?
Please.
Yes.
Okay, so I was talking about Joburg as a center of resistance. I moved on to talk about the establishment of Soweto as a satellite township, but without the infrastructure of a fully fledged city, without commercial zones and manufacturing capacity and things like that. Nevertheless, Soweto became hugely important as a political force, together with other townships. And ultimately, this was decisive in ending the system of racial domination. So this was really brought home with the explosive youth uprising of June 1976, which shook the apartheid regime as never before. So just in closing, on this issue, I think as we look to meet the challenges of a city still marked by huge inequalities and division, we can draw on, I think, the inspiration and the dynamism of the past, which has driven tremendous progress on the economic front, and we need to translate that also onto the social front. So let me stop there, if I may.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Eric, for giving us that rich history and heritage of the city of Johannesburg. As you were speaking, as you were talking about when Johannesburg was founded and how, and also the discovery of Main Reef Gold, in my mind, what reflects in my mind is that, so the city of Johannesburg is actually the city that was founded by migrants. And it is the city of migrants. So when I talk migrants, I'm not talking about illegal migrants, but I'm talking about people who were not born.
Madam, we've lost you. Madam Speaker.
Sorry, Madam Speaker, it's the audio has gone.
We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Madam Speaker, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
You need to
Yes,
go
we
back
can.
2 minutes before.
You need to talk from the migrants, the migrant city.
Yes, city of migrants.
Yes, I
City of
was saying from what Eric has presented to us, it is clear that Johannesburg is the city of migrants. I know that is a debate that can ensue, that some people feel that they are not migrants, but from what you've just told us, even the discovery of Main Reef Gold, it indicates that Johannesburg is the city of migrants, and it is what it is due to migrants from all over the world and from within the country. Maybe if MMC can just reflect on what is it that we can do. You spoke about inequalities and divisions, which we still have even now during this current period. What is it that we can do to bridge this gap of inequality as a society? And also, what is it that we can do to preserve this heritage, this rich heritage of ours? I just want us to reflect on that. If we can, maybe if I can hand over to MMC.
MMC is not here.
MMC is no longer, yeah, she's no longer in this meeting.
Okay, she got kicked off. Okay, maybe let's get comments from our viewers if we do have. Then, Doc, if you could also come in.
All right.
Comments?
Okay.
All right. I think other people must speak for now. You know, their experience of Joburg and what they've heard from Mr. Itzkin in terms of the history.
Yes. Okay, Mr. Itzkin, let's go back to you. You spoke about inequalities and divisions. So maybe this question is more relevant to you to say what would be interventions that can be put in place to bridge the gap of inequality that we even see even now. It was there even during the forced removals. We are still having that challenge as a city of inequality, and also to preserve our heritage. As I welcome Councillor Matsidiso Mfikwe, who is the chairperson of Infrastructure and Services Department. You are most welcome, Chairperson Tidi.
Okay, thanks so much, Madam Speaker. Well, I think one aspect of the legacy, the legacy of division is to do with the spatial arrangement of the city, you know, which has consigned large numbers of poor and Black people to the fringes, away from important resources and opportunities. So, of course, the issue of reorganizing the city's spatial pattern is very important, and it's something that has gained attention in recent years with initiatives like the Corridors of Freedom, the plan for that. I think also we need to overcome cultural barriers and divisions. People have been compartmentalized, locked into separate townships and ghettos and zones in the city. Not only in terms of space, but also in terms of ideas and you know, people's imaginations. So to build shared heritage and a history that can bring together all of us who have collectively contributed to the growth and the story of the city. Maybe with the sort of narrative that I've tried to share, which acknowledges you know, diverse people and makes it part of a continuing story with new arrivals who I think it's important should be included and not somehow held at bay or stigmatized. So I hope that goes somewhere to answer.
Yes, it does indeed, Eric, and thank you very much. I like the response that it is important to reorganize the city's spatial pattern, and you mentioned the corridors of freedom, which we have started to work on, that they will address the divide that you are talking about, and also to overcome social barriers. I really like those responses that as a society of the city of Johannesburg, we have to work towards achieving these goals.
Yeah.
Ndaga, can we check what our viewers are saying? We're talking about the history of Johannesburg here. We're talking about heritage of our city of Johannesburg. When was it founded? And what happened? What is the memory lane through all the years and even during the years of apartheid to date? And how best we can preserve our heritage as a nation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So most of the comments are giving us a thumbs up to say that this is indeed a very informative discussion. We've got a comment from Magetsi Litogo, who says, we are watching from Ward 41 at the Walter Sisulu branch. Nonceba Molwele says, Happy Heritage Month to the speaker, Johannesburg City, and all the speakers that are there. Thank you and congratulations. We have got Rebecca Malifu, who also says, we are watching, Madam Speaker, and I informed from Ward 122. Another comment says, well done, Joburg City and the speaker. Siyabulela to all of you, Doc. So you and Doc. Yeah, so let me leave it there for now. Thanks, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker?
Yes, Doc?
Yeah, I would like to ask a question, or maybe two questions, one to yourself, one to yourself and one to Mr. Itzkin. I think the question to Mr. Itzkin is, being Heritage Month, that is the month of September, in a context where now we can't, Joburg citizens who are planning to go to Mauritius or other places, they can't do that now. So they need to actually explore their city or go to other provinces. So if people want to explore their city, in line with the history that he gave, what would be, from a historical point now, not just, yes, I know most people would want to go to Soweto, to Mandela's house and stuff, but in terms of the history, pre New South Africa history, which places can they go to in Joburg to actually learn more about the history of Joburg? That is the mining history, and other forms of history, besides, not that it's less important, the cultural heritage and the political heritage, in Soweto and places like Alexandra. But if one wanted to know the history from before 1948, where would they go to? I think for the speaker, the question really is, what efforts are underway, driven by the municipality, to encourage the citizens of this beautiful city to actually get to know and be proud, and not only be proud, but also be part of preserving the heritage, because we see people destroying things, which are actually part of the history of the city. So, yes, we may not agree maybe with certain figures from the past, but the question is whether, people should just destroy things, or we should actually be part of preserving the heritage.
Okay, let me give to Eric to respond to the difficult one.
No, well, thank you. I think the difficulty is that there's a lot in terms of exploring that history before 1948, which of course will take us going back into ancient times. So in terms of the pre-colonial history, I mentioned there are remains in Johannesburg from Bantu-speaking people, from San and Khoisan people as well. And some of those relics can be found even in our own facilities, as community development. So two of the nature reserves in Johannesburg are very rich in this early history. The one being Melville Koppies, which gives you a natural history as well. Where you can actually view an old iron smelting furnace where people created various items from iron, which they mined nearby. And then in the south of Joburg, I also mentioned briefly Klippriviersberg, which is a huge nature reserve. And there you have many remains from settled communities, largely unknown by people. And very interestingly, the people of Melville Koppies and the people of Klippriviersberg used to trade with each other. At Melville Koppies, they produced these iron goods, and they traded that for food products with the people in the south in Klippriviersberg. So actually, the manufacturing area of that time was around Melville and Northcliffe, and the farming area down south, and they had this trade. So the mining history also, I mean, these African people were obviously mining iron, and in later times, gold changed the face of everything. So mining history is not that well represented in Johannesburg as it should be. I mean, we should have, you know, a great museum devoted to mining. We do have a geological museum. There is a mining strip on Main Street between Gandhi Square and the Magistrates Courts, with some outdoor exhibits of mining equipment and things like that. But I think to really get a proper insight into what made that system tick, it's not just about looking at you know, great pieces of mining machinery. I think at the heart of that system was really an exploitative system of migrant labor, you know, which pulled people from the rural areas, you know, extracted their labor without giving them rights in the city. And, you know, the migrant workers of the time lived in appalling conditions in hostels, in compounds. Now, a lot of those sorts of facilities have been either destroyed by the mining companies, or some of them have been, you know, redeveloped as family housing and things like that. But the pity is, although it may be upgrading some people's living arrangements, but what we've lost, you know, are strong examples to show the quite inhumane conditions under which migrant workers in particular worked and lived during their time in the city. So one very important example where, you know, these sorts of facilities have been preserved is in Newtown. It's an old compound dating from 1913, which wasn't actually part of the mining industry, because the compound pattern, which began on the mines, first on the diamond mines and then on the gold mines, that was also adopted by some municipalities, including Joburg, and by private industry. So this was a municipal compound. It shows you the bunk beds. It shows you the quite shocking sort of the bare conditions, the harsh conditions in which people lived, with a complete lack of privacy, a lack of human rights, and so on. So that is now the Workers' Museum in Newtown, and it's pretty much the best example of its kind in the country. And it may not be the best known or prestigious, most prestigious kind of heritage site, but it's extremely powerful and insightful to visit.
Thank you, Mr. Eric.
Thank you very much.
Madam Speaker, my apologies. Just a quick one. I've received a notification from MMC Arnold's to say that she is struggling with load shedding, and so she's unable to connect, and she apologizes that she has left the meeting.
Okay, no, thank you very much. In fact, she's not the only one. Today, there's a huge problem of towers and connection. I think it's because of the stage 4 load shedding, because it affects all of us. Even where I am, there's load shedding. So we're all struggling today, and we do apologize to our viewers that our connection is so poor today. Mashudu, maybe before I respond, Doc, Mashudu Vuisile has written some comments, but because ukhona la, if we can give him an opportunity to voice out his comments. I see his comments are on our chat group, but because he's present, if he could just voice out those comments, because they link to the response from Mr. Eric Itzkin. Mashudu, are you there?
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. I thought I would have avoided to say something, but you know, the point I was making is that if you look at the major cities around the world that are displaying some, you know, a level of economic prosperity, or, you know, a healthy growing economies and diversified industries, those are cities that by and large, you know, invest a lot in culture, you know, in the development, the promotion, and the protection of culture. Johannesburg, given the melting pot of, you know, cultural diversity that it has within its midst, presents a very unique opportunity and quite a lucrative niche, you know, to claim a greater market share, and also to stimulate economic activity through investment in culture. But also, you know, preservation of culture is very important for historic and heritage purposes. And, you know, so Johannesburg as a city, given within its, can really do a whole lot more in terms of investing in that. And one of the examples I made is in the revitalization of cultural precincts. If you look at, you know, the economic activity in Newtown, for example, when there was greater investment in cultural activity, it had a multiplier effect in other sectors of the economy and stimulating local economic growth. So there are greater opportunities. And since the decline of these cultural centers and cultural precincts, we have also seen the decline in economic activity. We have seen a relocation of, you know, industry-based organizations or even companies that were contributing to the local economic development and relocating to other centers within the city or outside of the city. So, you know, to retain and to trap that economic activity, culture is an important driver. To achieve such Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mshudulu, and my apologies for pronouncing your surname incorrectly. It's actually Mshudulu. Mr. Mshudulu, thank you so much for your contribution, and also highlighting the importance of preserving culture, and also the importance of revitalization of cultural precincts. I have seen Eric in other countries that I have visited. Even if they have to do some renovations or revamp a heritage site or a building, they will still preserve that natural, you know, cultural or heritage view of the space. So if we could also follow such, even if we are doing some changes in the precincts, but we still preserve our heritage. And the efforts underway, Doc, if MMC was still on the platform, I'm sure she would take us through the programs the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture are doing in making sure that they encourage citizens to be part of preserving. But before preserving, to know their heritage, to understand their heritage and culture, and for them to preserve. In the libraries, I'm sure she was also going to talk about what is in their libraries, cities libraries as well, because this information is there for learners. Because for me, I think it is important that we educate our learners on the heritage of this city and their culture, and also how to preserve it. As we are in this month, ordinarily, I'm not sure if it's going to happen now with the lockdown regulations, but the department would also do some planting of the trees, plant trees, and also educate citizens on the importance of preserving trees and that natural resource that we are destroying now in this current structure. So I think investing in culture is important, and the department, Eric, which you are part of this department, has a lot of work to do in educating, especially young ones, on our heritage and taking them through heritage sites. People would go to other countries to visit some sites and they don't even understand the sites of their own city. Okay, do we have any other comments? Maybe before we can close. I guess we are closing at 5.
Yes, Madam Speaker, there is a comment that I think I should read. It's from a councillor. It's from Councillor Nonceba Molwele. She says Johannesburg has a rich history that has spanned for many years that needs to be preserved and protected. However, we also have to be innovative in how we go about effecting that. The current situation also allows for us to look into how to incorporate futuristic ideas that will ultimately work for future generations, and to ensure that the infrastructure allows for more investments to come into Joburg. Ultimately, we have to assess under which values some of these heritage structures were built and take it from there. Okay, she goes on to say, Doc, we have to carefully explore as to why they destroy things. Reasons may vary from protests that go wayward to service delivery and the values or history that represent that particular heritage piece. I thought I'd just share that. Thanks, Madam Speaker.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you very much to Councillor Sifumba for those comments. May I, before I give it to Eric to say the last word, or Doc?
Well, for me, really, it was just those 2 questions. I think.
Matsidiso, Councillor Mfikwe, please mute.
Yeah, muted her. No, I think for me, yes, we are all under lockdown and all of that, but at least much more relaxed at level 2. I'm just encouraging people to get to know this city. Yes, there was special planning that separated us, but maybe there must be a conscious effort from every citizen of this city to actually get to know the other parts of the city that were not really made accessible to them, for whatever reason. So I think let's get to know the city, and if we do so, support obviously, the small businesses in and around the areas we visit, and hope that we can re-stimulate our economy, because it starts here before we can even grow the economy of the country. We start by supporting the economy of the city.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Last word. Thank you very much, Dr. Nyati. Last word from Mr. Eric.
Okay, well, I have to agree. We want to encourage visitors and tourism, but it starts with us. We need to appreciate we've got an incredibly rich and fascinating city with literally hundreds of different heritage sites. We owe it to ourselves to get out there, explore the history, and it can grow from there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Eric. Maybe from my side, before I thank everyone, what I'm taking out of this discussion is one, to get to know this city. I think Doc raised that point, that it is important that as the citizens of Johannesburg, we get to know our own city. We appreciate this rich heritage and rich history we have, and we explore this city. For example, you spoke about the importance of mining and how gold was discovered. And today, our mines are destroyed. They are dilapidated. We have a lot of illegal mining that is happening in those mining sites. If, as a community of Johannesburg, we could prevent illegal mining and anything that destroys our heritage, we should work together with government to stop those things that even people who are, when mentioned by Councillor Sfumba, when they are angry, then they burn and they destroy our heritage. I think as a society, we need to condemn that and we need to preserve our heritage, because that is all that is what we have as the citizens of Johannesburg. So what I'm taking out from this today, from these discussions, is that we need to explore, we need to appreciate, and we need to preserve our heritage and our history for the next generation, so that they also know and enjoy the fruit of the city. But we must also make sure that learners, our children, understand where we come from as Johannesburg. With that said, I want to thank everyone, especially our panelists, Mr. Itzkin, Eric, and MMC Arnolds. We do apologize that you could not be part of the whole discussion because of connection. Thank you very much. And we are not ending the discussion today. For the whole of September, we will be talking heritage. So we will still be having other topics that are talking about culture and heritage. We are people of culture, and it is important that we unite in our diversity. Thank you very much to our partner, Dr. Fundile Nyati. Thank you so much. With the support of these different topics, where we do civic education and we engage with our citizens on this platform. Thank you to Councillor Mfikwe. I see you are back. Thank you so much, Chairperson. Thank you very much to all our viewers and everyone. Thank you very much to Vuyisile Mshutulu for Am I back?
Yes.
All right, sorry for that. I was still appreciating the participation from everybody. Mr. Vuyisile Mshutulu, thank you very much for your comments. I am certain that Mr. Eric will take to the department and incorporate some of your suggestions into their programs. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Ntaka and Sipo, for always being there. Thank you to the support from Dr. Nyati, your technical team and your support team for supporting this program. I was saying that it is the beginning of September. We will still be having other topics that speaks on our culture and our heritage and the importance of us as a people to unite in our diversity. With that said, I really want to thank you very much, and thank you to all our viewers that have been watching and commenting on all the platforms. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the day, and please take care.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Bye, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Bye.